Welcome to Friday, July 19th, 2024. This Day with a Podcast brought to you by Wyoming State Park. Celebrate Wyoming's firearms and outdoor recreation industry at the second annual Wyoming Firearms and Outdoor Recreation Expo Saturday, July 20th from 11 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. in Casper. Well, the same pattern is going to reside. This podcast today is going to sound exactly like what I've told you for the last 2 or 3 days, which is we're going to be warm. We're going to have afternoon and evening thunderstorms. We'll have skies that will look like this in the afternoons in many areas with the cloud buildup. Afternoon and evening thunderstorm coverage will be pretty extensive today and slowly tapers off, but still is going to be around through the weekend. So if you're planning outdoor activities this weekend, for the most part, it's going to be a nice July weekend of weather, but afternoon and evening thunderstorms, especially in the high country, and near the high country will be something to watch out for. Drier air does get intruded into the region during the first half of next week. So the amount of thunderstorm coverage will drop Monday, drops more Tuesday. There won't be a lot of it Wednesday. Now, west of the divide, we'll start to see moisture come back up again mid to late next week. So thunderstorms for western slope areas will start to make a comeback middle of the week. Eastern slope areas late in the week, and towards next weekend, the thunderstorm coverage will increase again. So active thunderstorms for the next 3 days, a break for most of you. They pick up again mid to late next week, and temperatures aren't going to be anything special. It's still going to be the warmest western slope, coolest eastern areas of the divide. The same looking satellite photo this morning that we've shown you all week. Really what this looks like today is exactly what it looked like on Monday. Subtropical moisture trapped underneath the high pressure ridge remains in the region. So the pattern just recycles itself. As we take a look at the afternoon thunderstorm coverage today, thunderstorms may be a bit more numerous further east. Yesterday they wanted to stay on the mountains and near the mountains. Today's forecast calls for the thunderstorms to be further out to the east. And that's where we have a bit more of a risk for severe weather today, especially in that yellow area, the darker green area. Some of the thunderstorms this afternoon and evening in a few spots could get strong to severe. Tomorrow looks like this. Very similar. Back towards and near and just on the either side of the divide. So we have the pattern where one day they're further out in the plains, next day they're closer to the divide. Then we just kind of gone back and forth all week. This is exactly what will happen for the weekend. For the weekend, the general thunderstorm coverage on Saturday looks like this. We don't have any really highlighted areas of severe weather anywhere. This is where you get into, and this is for the most part what we've seen this week, what we call garden variety thunderstorms that are good at making it rain, maybe a little bit of small hail, but not a lot in the way of severe weather. For Sunday, the thunderstorm coverage gets a little more consolidated in the southwest United States and southern Rockies, but along the Front Range and adjacent plains will be some thunderstorms. But you can see we're going to see a bit less. And when we look at that, again, garden variety thunderstorms on Sunday, drier air is starting to come in from these areas here, and that is what's going to shrink this green area more down into this part of the U.S. as we get towards the middle of next week. And this is why. The high pressure retrogrades to the Tahoe area, basically, and we have this amplified flow that brings a trough of low pressure into the Midwest and Great Lakes. This is the cooler weather for the central U.S. we've been talking about this week. So the high pressure gets pinched off a bit, and actually drier air from central Canada gets entrained into the system, and the moisture flow from the Gulf of Mexico gets cut off. So this is why, as we get to the end of the weekend, into the first half of next week, the concentration of the moisture will be more constricted into this area here, that subtropical moisture. So thunderstorm activity is going to wane. This is the temperature pattern between now and next Wednesday. So between now and next Wednesday, we have that big contrast we showed you yesterday. Cooler than average in the nation's midsection, very warm Pacific Northwest, Western Canada, and areas along and west of the Continental Divide. And as we get into next week, it's going to be vanilla flavored. Not a lot of excitement, especially with thunderstorm activity early to mid next week, peeling off a bit before increasing again late next week. Taking a look at that precipitable water, this really highlights it by Wednesday. So you can see the constriction of the moisture is more here. We have the dry air up here. The dry air gets along and east of the divide, coming in from the Dakotas. So you're going to see a decrease in thunderstorm activity in the brown areas, but lingering thunderstorm chances in the green and blue areas there. By late next week and next weekend, this is by next Sunday, things start to move along a little bit. The flow's less amplified. The high pressure ridge starts to weaken a little bit. And we start to see frontal systems again coming in from the Pacific Northwest, going along the U.S.-Canadian border. So as we get to the end of July and into early August, this high pressure ridge is going to be in a little bit of a weakened state. Have yourself a good weekend. Watch out for those afternoon and evening thunderstorms. We'll see you Monday.